Go ahead and call this meeting to order. Ms. Gehring, roll call, please.
Mr. Cordray?
Here.
Mr. Rossi?
Here.
Mr. Souza?
Here.
All right, if you would, please rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I do want to make a motion to amend this evening's agenda. Two items. First item is with regards to page 5 of the Clerk's Journal. It's about midway down, gentlemen, where it says Chief Hughes stated that he does see any clauses that there are penalties for paying financing off early if we choose to do that. This is with regards to the leases on the police cars. I'm making a motion to amend that it says he does not see any clauses. I believe that's what he actually stated through the video, so just for the minutes to reflect that. And along with that, a motion to amend as well, under work session to add that the board discusses the public meeting going forward, the format that we're going to use going forward after this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Great. Make a motion, or we've got bills before the board. First item is a motion to approve EFT direct deposit vouchers 1183851647 through 1183851718.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Motion to approve payroll withholding checks 32053-115 through 32053-123 and 32053-139 through 32053-150.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Motion to approve EFT direct deposit vouchers 118452-4688 through 118452-4762 and 118452-5267 through 118452-5270.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Motion to approve payroll withholding checks 320-91851 through 320-91859 and 320-91900 through 320-91913 and 320-91917 through 320-1920.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Motion to approve check 81491 and void 81450.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Motion to approve checks 81492 through 81499.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Motion to approve check numbers 81500 through 81528.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Next item, gentlemen, we have on the agenda is public comments. Mr. Stearns, do we have any public comments submitted for this evening's meeting?
Yes, sir, we have one.
Okay.
This is from Carol Comesher. She states, as you know, contractors must get permits from the Warren County Zoning Department contractor proposals, and supposedly highly intelligent zoning proposals are then sent by their regional planning committee to you. So it's your issue too, or Hamilton Township Regional Planning Commission, and then you return them upon your detailed, highly intelligent, and tedious review. Expressly addressed in the zoning mandate is that the pre-development flow rates and discharge volumes of downstream stormwater pollution prevention must be maintained in a 100-year event. So 100-year event is no excuse either. Please put enormous and constant, continuous pressure on yourselves and Warren County to only hire highly knowledgeable permit reviewers, to rely on them over previous flawed permits and to not issue permits without resolving all pre-construction and construction issues like existing water tables and all runoff sewage, traffic, school, police, fire, rescue, etc. issues and things. It's what everyone's tax dollars need, including yours, and much less expensive in the long run. That's the only comment we have tonight.
Okay. I guess just to address, comment, I think, what she's talking about is obviously the new construction and challenges that we face. We obviously had a bunch of rain over the last few days and a lot of issues as a result of that. And I think, I know there's a lot of pain points there, and I know our Public Works Department, they do a great job of communicating that to Warren County, which in most cases, they're the ones that oversee those issues. And I know we'll always continue to be diligent in working with the county and trying to resolve those issues before they get to that point and once we know about them as well. I don't know, John, if you have any other comments?
I agree. We had some unprecedented rain the past few days. And it's happened more than once in the past couple of years. I've been here 20 years and I've not seen the amount of water run through my backyard as I have with this last rain. I think we continue working with the county on water flow. I think we can come up with some solutions.
I agree, I don't really have much to add. I did think with the rainfall in the last few days, with all the reporting yesterday of the Mill Creek in the Westchester area, its previous record high was all 3 years ago. And actually, I heard a news story talking about the 1% floodplains or the 100-year floodplains, but it seems like these heavy rain events are becoming more frequent. You know, you have more development and less grass space in an area, so I get the point. I mean, it's something we should always be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I think how quickly rivers rose. The Iowa River rose, I think, 11 feet in 24 hours. That's a lot of water, a large body of water to raise that quickly. It's either 9 or 11, but it was significant.
With that, we will go ahead and move on to new business. First item, gentlemen, we have for consideration is a motion to approve a market increase for EMS Medi-Account billing rates. This was submitted by Chief Reese, and this will increase our Medi-Account billing rates to comparable rates with surrounding communities and provide a more stable base to our EMS billing fund. I know when I talked about this before the meeting, followed up with staff, I know this is something that's been mentioned in my Medi-Account several times over the last few years with regards to looking at raising our rates. Based on my understanding is actually the rates have not increased in Hamilton Township since when Chief Reese has started. Gentlemen, did you guys have any questions or comments in regards to this proposal?
I don't, unless Chief Reese wants to make any comments about it himself, because I think it's longer than that needs a bit of increase.
Yeah, we, so like you've read, it's been a couple of years now, they've been talking to me about we should probably consider adjusting our rates. Some departments around here actually do a COLA every year, raise their rates every year. But this will just bring us into basically mid-range within the county and comparable to other departments in their transport. And again, the citizen out here, the way we bill, we still only take in what insurance pays. We don't bill the residents, so they should not see a difference.
That's all I have.
Similar thoughts, yeah, I mean, where it's been a while since we made a raise, it'll likely be a while before we make another adjustment. So I think where we're moving them to is average, just slightly above average across the county. So pretty comfortable, and actually, if I'm a resident, I'd be positive with the change because it provides, you know, long-term stability to the funding of the department and less of a likelihood of coming back to the local taxpayer at some point for additional revenue. So it's just good long-term planning, I think. Totally comfortable with it.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, like you both stated, I mean, these rates are going to be pretty comparable to townships of our size and makeup here in the county and whatnot. With that, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve a market increase for EMS Medi-Account billing rates as proposed.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rousey?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, next item on the agenda is Resolution 20-0520. It's a resolution authorizing Hamilton Township to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or Local Transportation Improvement Program and to execute contracts as required. This was submitted by Public Works Director Kenny Hickey. This is with regards to the Baxter Bridge Total Restoration Project. This is a 5149 grant for the Baxter Bridge restoration. The total project cost is $133,500. Hamilton Township's cost would be 51% of the project, which is just a hair over $68,000. And if approved, the program would fund 49% of this project, which is about $65,400. It does not cost us anything to apply for this this grant. It would just help fund the cost for this project. Gentlemen, you guys have any questions or comments?
What's the turnaround on a grant like this? Is it hard to say, or is it
Kind of hard to say, especially with the current times. Things have been a little slower at the state level. A lot of times we see grants are due by April and October, and with that, you'll see the funds turn around by the next year. So this one kind of being a mid-year grant, I would think maybe end of the year, we'll have an answer as to whether we're getting it granted or not, and then funds with the following year.
so the 2021 budget that this would affect, and what fund does it come out of if it's approved?
It become out of the new levy fund.
Is this a project we would still do even if this grant doesn't come through?
Yes. This is on the resurfacing list,
Okay.
but bridges, of course, cost more than our standard resurfacing, so with that, this is the one we want to apply for.
What's the issue with the bridge? Just
It's actually got disintegration. We done some work on it before, and Dominique and myself, Dominique from Warren County, we've been out there, and this is something we was pushing off. We brought this to you guys last year, and this is something we had 3 years to push that off to. And so 2021 is kind of our project date for the
how
trees.
far up Baxter is the bridge?
You're probably about mile and a half up into that section.
Kenny, do you have any recent history in applying for these grants? I'm just curious, as qualifications for the grant, or is this simply a supply and demand, or is there economic components to the decision, or?
So with the grant, this is our second round on this. Last time we did not get approved for it, but Neil Tunison, the engineer in Warren County, wanted us to try again to see if we can get into this grant. So, I mean, you know, it's something we can look into,
Okay.
but not a guarantee on it.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, with our grants, our median income does kind of knock us out quite often, and we understand that, but we still want to try.
Sure.
With that, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve, Resolution 20-0520, a resolution authorizing Hamilton Township to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or Local Transportation Improvement Programs and to execute contracts as required.
Second?
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rousey?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
All right, next item on the agenda is Resolution 20-052A. It's a resolution accepting public streets for maintenance and setting speed limits on Section 2 in the Rivercrest subdivision, Hamilton Township, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. This allows Hamilton Township to accept Section 2 of Rivercrest subdivision and from Warren County as Hamilton Township streets and to establish the township speed limit of 25 miles per hour. This resolution, we do declare an emergency measure out of necessity for the immediate preservation of peace, health, safety, and welfare of Hamilton Township. The reason for the emergency is to provide immediate establishment of safe speed. This is fairly standard when we have new streets come online from subdivisions. We declared an emergency just so that we can be consistent and it immediately transfers over and that speed limits are enforced from the moment we pass these resolutions. For passage, it does require a 3 votes in the affirmative on this. Gentlemen, do you guys have any questions or comments?
How much road is it? Just out of curiosity.
Looks like a pretty, this is kind of back closest to 22 and 3, right?
Distance in feet or distance,
What was
a
the
mile, half mile, or?
I want to say it's 3 roads.
Let's say it's probably a half mile on the lot.
Really, I was just curious if there was an easy answer other than.
It's 25 acres of land. And I think it's just the one street that ends in a cul-de-sac turnaround at the end. Stillwater Drive. Yeah.
Pretty standard.
COVID hasn't changed the process at all for, I mean, the review that you guys do with the county and everything as far as us accepting roads?
This was done previous of the COVID, so,
Okay.
yeah, it's less than a quarter.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve resolution 20-052A, a resolution accepting public streets for maintenance and setting speed limits on section 2 in the Rivercrest subdivision, Hamilton Township, Warren County, Ohio, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency.
Second?
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rousey?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Next item on the agenda, gentlemen, is resolution 20-0520B. This is a resolution accepting public streets for maintenance and setting speed limits on section 5A, B, and C in the Hawthorne Manor subdivision, Hamilton Township, Warren County, Ohio, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. This is the exact same parameters resolution as far as what we just passed just a moment ago for the exact same reasons. Do you gentlemen have any questions?
So probably a little more road.
Just a little. Yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution 20-0520B, a resolution accepting public streets for maintenance and setting speed limits on section 5A, B, and C in the estates at Hawthorne Manor subdivision, Hamilton Township, Warren County, Ohio, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency.
Second?
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rousey?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Gentlemen, next item on the agenda is resolution 20-0520C, the resolution authorizing and approving an increase in township appropriations in the police district and gasoline fund in the police department and public works department to reconcile budgets for calendar year 2020. This appropriation is for the security access points upgrades in the administration, police department, and public works buildings. This was an unexpected cost associated with the construction of the new fire station and to maintain security access into all Hamilton Township buildings. The administration, police department, and public works building will need to be upgraded to meet the standards of the new fire station 76 security access points. The general fund will also be paying $4,437.06, but that portion does not need to be reappropriated. Just as a follow-up, mainly the main cost of this is actually going to be the software improvements that are involved in updating the access points, and this is for all the access points that we have in the township that require a badge, that we're updating the entry points themselves and then the software involved, which is the main cost. Gentlemen, do you guys have any questions, comments?
So the way this was described, it was, there's obsolete equipment and there's new standards for software, so it necessitated the need of, key cards weren't gonna match.
That's
They
correct.
required more than one, so you'd have to have 2 different key cards.
That's
To get
right.
it.
So, yeah, it wouldn't make our system obsolete. However, it wouldn't be compatible with our system. So the fire station would be on one system and the public works building, administration / police would be on a different system.
Okay.
Does this do anything, what are the access like at the other station? And obviously, we're not doing anything with the station in Mainville, but is it part of that as well? Part of this?
So Station 77 doesn't use the access points.
I-
So it'll be this building, Fire Station 76, and the Public Works building.
No,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 20-0520C, a resolution authorizing and approving an increase in township appropriations in the police district and gasoline tax fund and the police department and public works department to reconcile budgets for calendar year 2020.
Second?
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rousey?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
All right. Next item on the agenda is resolution 20-0520, 0520D, a resolution compensation to Ellen Horman pursuant to ORC 515.12. This provides Ellen Horman with 50 cents for each lot of the lighting district. This work is assigned to the fiscal officer or designee per Ohio Revised Code. Fiscal officer Kurt Weber is delegating these duties to Ms. Horman along with the compensation the work entails. This is a yearly resolution. I know it's been before the board, I think, each of my years serving. It's not an additional tax on the residents. It's just cost that we gain, or revenue that comes in through the ORC code, and then fiscal officer has the option of either keeping those funds or delegating those along with those duties to his designee, in this case, Ms. Morgan.
And just like it for the public, I mean, in lay terms, this is just wherever there's lighting in a neighborhood or public area, collects generally through a special assessment, and we're responsible, you or Ellen, for managing that financially, basically, right?
That's correct. If you look on your property taxes, there's a spot on there that talks about the, special districts or lighting districts, and it's on there. You can see it, and that's what that is. And yeah, like Daryl said, money just comes in, and then that money is used to pay those, fees that many times Duke Energy, charges. I think that's generally who it is for all the street lights, and they maintain them and take care of them, which is a good benefit to the taxpayer.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 20-0520D, a resolution authorizing compensation to Ellen Horman pursuant to ORC 515.12.
Second?
Mr. Forte?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is resolution 20-0520E, a resolution declaring certain property as obsolete, surplus, no longer needed for public use, and authorizing its disposal. This was submitted by Chief Reese. This was submitted by Chief Hughes, and this is for property that he has deemed obsolete or unusable. This property does include 3 computer monitors and 1 USB printer. All items are listed in Exhibit A. No single item is valued over $2,500. Gentlemen, do you guys have any questions, comments?
What happens to them?
I didn't hear you.
What happens to them, the items?
We'll just be destroyed. They'll just be destroyed.
And this states no single item is worth over $2,500. In actuality, they're worth probably much, a small fraction of that.
Yeah.
Dot matrix printer.
That's standard language.
Yeah.
That the laws
Just for
are.
transparency. The taxpayer, make sure we're not throwing away stuff that's worth.
Oh, no, this is worth
Right.
next to nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
This is old equipment.
Big, deep monitors and a dot
Exactly.
matrix printer.
Right, yeah, exactly.
All right, we'll go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution 20-0520E, a resolution declaring certain property as obsolete, surplus, no longer needed for public use, and authorizing its disposal.
Second?
Mr. Forte?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, that is it as far as new business and resolutions to consider this evening. We do have, our first work session item tonight is with regards to zoning for the CBD oil establishments. I imagine you guys have all had an opportunity to see the overview that was in our packets. Did you gentlemen have any questions or anything for Mr. Craig? Yes.
The only question I really had in review of this, Alex, was just curious that the recommendation based on the number of residents that will kind of set how many would, viably ever be in the township at any given time. Was there a precedent out there for that, or how did you guys come to that number? Of
Yes.
8,000 residents per CBD location?
Just for conversation and those viewing, would you want to read?
Yeah.
Have Alex go through each one?
Yeah, that would be great.
For content.
Yeah.
Thank you, trustees. And I wanted to go back to December 2019, when the Township trustees did pass, or suggested to the zoning commission that we take up the idea of looking at the CBD oil establishments in the township. You did pass a resolution for the 1-year moratorium on the CBD oil establishments in the township and urged the zoning commission to take that up. So we did have, we held 3 hearings on this issue, starting January 13th, March 9th, and May 11th. We did hear from a local expert in the field, Dr. Dwayne Titus from Mainville Family Chiropractic Center. They're on Grandin and 048. We also heard from our legal counsel. Ben Yoder was there, and his colleague was also there. So they were at the March 9th and May 11th meeting. So we had a good couple rounds of discussion on this, and ultimately we also did look at some of our neighbors and what the region is doing, what municipalities are doing in the region. And to your question, Mr. Sousa, Deerfield Township is considering this as well, and they don't have anything in particular right now, but they're also considering that having one store per a certain amount of population. So, in kind of looking at that, that went through Warren County Regional Planning Commission back in January, and so we kind of looked at that as a guideline for what we might have. And so, if you don't mind, I'll quickly go through what the recommendations were from the Zoning Commission to you all.
Thank you.
So first is a definition. You have to kind of define what a CBD oil establishment is. Zoning Commission defined a CBD oil establishment as any retail store that maintains at least 30% physical square footage for the sale of cannabinoid related products as its principal revenue source. Pretty obviously, I'll be able to tell what is a CBD oil store, but if there's any question, I can go in and actually determine if it's more than 30% of the actual physical space. Second recommendation was there shall be a cap on the number of CBD oil establishments permitted to operate at any one time in Hamilton Township. The cap shall be one CBD store per 8,000 residents, as determined by the most recent census data, not to exceed a total of 4 total CBD stores in the township. The zoning director will maintain a record of the number of existing CBD stores operating in the township, and a zoning certificate approval will certify each store. The third recommendation, we said additionally there shall be a 500-foot buffer maintained between 2 CBD oil establishments, measured from the main entrance to the next main entrance. The exception is when there is a separation between 2 retail strip centers. And also there shall not be 2 CBD stores located adjacent to one another in the township. The final recommendation is, relates to what zoning districts it would be permitted in, and the zoning commission is recommending that we only allow these to be permitted in the B1 and B2 commercial zoning districts.
I do have 2 questions, Mr. Kramer. First one, with regards to item number 2 on here, shall cap at 1 CBD store per 8,000 residents as determined by the most recent census data. Is that figure, included incorporated or just unincorporated only as far as number of residents? And the reason why I ask is because obviously we have South Lebanon, parts of South Lebanon and the village of Mainville within our incorporated part of the township.
Right, so it's my understanding that was meant to be simply on Hamilton Township residents only.
Well,
So
I guess
we can only enforce unincorporated.
unincorporated, okay.
Yeah.
So in theory, we could get our cap of 4 and then Mainville could still choose to, whatever they were to choose to do, they could still, they could have put an additional 1, 2, 3, or 4 out, whatever they would decide, for example.
That's exactly right. They have their own zoning and their own law enforcement agencies in both of those jurisdictions.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yep. And then the other question I have is, I didn't see anything which concerns me with regards to any restrictions as far as with regards to where it is with regards to schools. Was there any, I'm just curious, was there any consideration, because obviously with the B1 and B2 zoning, they've gone through this kind of sensitive issue with location with regards to Burger King possibly going next door to South Lebanon Elementary. I can't imagine, I wouldn't want to see a business like that. I don't think that would be a great spot for this.
That's a good question, Mr. Cordray. And I do want to mention that the vote was a 4-to-1 vote, and the 1 vote against it was mainly because he didn't believe there should be any restrictions placed. It should just be, open market. There's a lot of discussion back and forth on that specific issue with relation to distance from schools and that kind of thing, and libraries and whatever public kind of activity you may have, where children may be there and that kind of thing. The reason it wasn't included was CBD oil is already sold in stores such as Kroger, CVS, Walgreens. Dr. Titus sells it. And obviously Kroger is right there close to South Lebanon Elementary School, for just one example. And so the thought there was we didn't want to negatively impact like the small mom and pops versus where the large stores already sell it. And we can't really regulate. It's not their principal use, obviously, but they do have it in their stores for sale. That was kind of the thinking.
And I guess part of my concern with that would be is how you would advertise that business. Like, obviously, I don't want to see like Hot Leafs, like, 100 feet from the school, and then you see a CD. And I'm not sure how exactly they would advertise that. But that's my more concern from an aesthetic standpoint. Granted, like you said, it's sold at Kroger's, it's sold at the Shell station. But obviously, it's not their main focus. So they may put a banner up like we've seen there on 48, but it's not near as obvious to say as if you were to put up a store, and how they would advertise that is what concerns me, is it being that close to a school, for example.
I kind of get the thinking, I'm more in line with the way the zoning group looked at it. I mean, when we think about the schools and the footprint of the township, South Lebanon Elementary is really the only one I think that's immediately bordered by business-owned property where we would even have that potential. I think all the little Miami buildings are surrounded by residential property, or some park space, something along those lines. So I get the thinking, but I think I think about it long-term for decades down the road, and the way business is evolving and retail and what's being sold and how society's changing. It's not a significant concern for me. I'm comfortable with us not having that recommendation.
I guess my concern is restricting business and the type of business that this is. I don't know if it carries a stigma or not. It's not the component of cannabis that has the other impact. It's medicinal, and it's becoming more and more widely accepted. I get your point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking
about
at
something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, what are we seeing in other communities where these are starting to emerge? I know there's a place in the city of Montgomery, and are there communities out there where they're going on every street corner?
No, that's a great question, and we did highlight that. That was another concern that came up, and that was whether there's a cap placed on it. And there was some discussion about how many it should be, and this and that. And I did note where there has not been any regulation. City of Montgomery is one, Anderson Township is another one, and Westchester Township is a third. They've only seen one store each, so there hasn't been a proliferation in those municipalities.
Yeah, no one expect a big one. I mean, like I said, already the Shell stations, the Krogers of the world are already selling these. So, I mean, it's not like it's not like some new business.
Home-based businesses too.
Right. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with the business per se. My only concern is, like I said, location is somewhere like a school would be, just from an aesthetic standpoint. And I just could foresee the pushback, and I could foresee where a lot of concern would be is having such a business like that. And given that we do have a lot there that's being one right next to the school on a main drag, does concern me if this is an opportunity where we feel like, do we want to kind of ensure that there's not that type of main business next to the school, or are we, and that's not to say that there would be. I mean, we could have a completely different development going there next week, and then this is an argument for not, but it's something, do we want to plan for now, or do we want to say, okay, it's either way I can see, do we just want to say, okay, we'll take these recommendations as they are and go with it?
See if there's any issues that come up later on. I'm not so much in favor of a cap myself. I don't see an onslaught of CBD businesses in the township. I get what you're saying about how do we address that if it's near a school, and what does it look like? But for me, I've read that there's a lot of children that are using this that's helping them medicinally. It's becoming more and more widely accepted as a therapy. Dr. Titus is using it in the store, so it almost, and maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm wrong, it's kind of being treated like it's the actual cannabis, so to speak. And I did question why we were even looking into this in the first place.
Yeah.
With it, again, it's in Kroger, it's at CVS, I'm sure it's at Walgreens. I'm sure there's a number of home-based businesses that are already shipping it out of their houses, so. That's my concern.
That's exactly
I'm not in
right.
favor of
And
it.
if I could just respond to that, or
Sure.
to add to that, the zoning commission did have discussions about why are we even doing this, and I think some of the members thought, well, it does have that 0.3%, in there, and you can fail drug tests while taking this, so, there's some of that potentially, there is product available that does not have the THC in it, the component in it, I believe that's what, like police officers have to use and that kind of thing.
Right.
But that was one of the reasons for continuing on with it, I think.
Sure, what is the limit then that these stores can carry when it comes to THC content?
I believe it's supposed to be 0.3, is that?
Yeah,
right?
it tracks exactly with the definitional section proposed and recommended by zoning commission.
However, Dr. Titus did point out in the January 9th meeting that, January 13th meeting, that he has all of that, approved 0.3%. It's very, that's what he told us. There's some out there that may not be quite up to that standard yet, since it's so unregulated right now. So he cautioned just the consumer to look out for that.
Okay.
I guess you're looking for a certain license and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
I guess so.
And I guess the question I would have, Alex, in the middle of, not wanting to maybe even restrict the number versus, setting a limit. If it's 10 years from now and this is something more significant than we anticipate it being, and we've gotten to 3 and we're pushing up against 4, we can look at and revise that, I would assume, in our zoning.
Mhm.
And it's just, it's something I was alluding to, is like even COVID will accelerate this a little bit, is how we buy products. As customer, already a big segment all going online.
That's already happening.
Yeah.
Brick and mortar stores are,
Right. I
think
think
basically they've been on the way trending down.
in 10 or 20 years, people aren't likely, if they're a regular CBD oil user, they're probably not likely to be going to, that brick and mortar might be a little storefront if nothing else
Yeah.
for an online,
Sure.
distribution point for businesses like that, but,
Can you look at the way their signage, is that even possible to say, hey, we'd like you to stay away from anything that references traditional marijuana? Is that already a thing?
That would be a pretty tough issue legally to delineate CBD versus other retail usage and then put some signage restrictions. For the most part, signage restrictions are limited anyways to, size and different things, but to say CBD signs must look like this or can't look like that, that would be a legally suspect thing to do.
But at the end of the day, do the CBD store owners even want to associate themselves with that? Because it's really two pretty much different things. Two different purposes.
That's a good question. Anecdotally, I know, I haven't seen it myself. I know a couple of our members did go to the Anderson store, Anderson Township.
Mhm.
They did say it's an aesthetically pleasing, looking, really nice looking store. I believe most of these around here are the CBD, your CBD store is kind of the franchise that's popping up around the Greater Cincinnati area. So they all have a certain, vibe that they're going for. I don't think they're trying to be, above board with what they're doing. So I don't think they're looking for that. Not that they're flaunting the leaf or anything from what I have heard.
We've had one apply here, of course, it was in this process, so, it wasn't moved forward, but the plans were very clean, and it definitely didn't look like they were trying to draw in that crowd. It was very much medicinal, like you were talking,
and I just have similar, like we've had the public comments recently about maybe even segmentation in our business zoning for drive-through or non-drive-through. And I just feel consistent in the belief that I don't really want to do anything to be any more restrictive on business coming to Hamilton Township than we'd have to be until it was a problem, because we've not, our track record in recent years in non-residential growth isn't, stellar. So I want to hear towards
No, and I think that,
mainly seeing these items.
and I think it makes a lot of sense in 99.9% of the time. One of my biggest concern is just obviously with the school component. I'm in favor of bringing the business to the township. I'm not saying we should restrict it. And I guess I kind of wonder, as you were talking about down the road, is looking at, how things change. Obviously, we've seen throughout the country, and even Ohio's moved that way. They've legalized medical marijuana, in the traditional sense that we all think of. And if we get to that point in Ohio where recreational use is legalized, are they going to allow these CBD stores to start selling that? And then are we running into a situation now that we have a store established, say within 500 feet of a school that's now selling legalized marijuana? We can't go back after the fact and say, oh, now we're going to zone you out. That's just we can't do that legally. So I guess I'm just trying to not only plan for this, but plan for the future. And maybe that's something that's 15 years down the road, maybe it's something that never happens. But I'm just, to me, running all through those scenarios is, as we build our township and our neighborhood and what we want it to see long term. Like I said, I'm happy to bring the business here, but do we want to make sure it's in the right spot? We don't put something that, just isn't going to make sense from a neighborhood standpoint. The residents are going to go like, hey, this wasn't the best idea to have this store next to this school.
Sure. I can see putting a buffer in from schools, and we've basically got the one school
Right.
that we have to address.
Yeah, and that's the main reason. I mean, if it was like you said, most Miami schools are off the beaten path, so to speak. You're not going to have that issue, but we do have one school in the township that does sit right there in our main business thoroughfare that we're going to be developing throughout the township, and they're going to be surrounded by commercial and retail.
Sure. And can we add that to this third paragraph? An additional buffer between,
I mean, these are just recommendations, you can add.
Sure, yeah.
Really strong recommendation.
How would you word that?
Yeah, so I think we would need to look at, well, first answer to the part, you can do whatever you want. You can scrap the whole list if you want, anything. I would want to get clarification on whether like daycares that teach, if that constitutes a school, and if we go down that road, I would want to make sure we have very defined language on it.
And I would love to hear just if we can do some further research and say like, what are other municipalities, are they taking schools into account of buffer zone? Is that something, I mean, that's fairly typical, is that something?
And that was all discussed as far as.
Yeah, I think it was.
Is this still an ongoing issue in Deerfield, or has this been addressed?
It's, the recommendation of zoning commission has gone to the trustees, but because of all the online meetings, they didn't want to do the public hearing until they could get back in. I know they actually just had their first in-person meeting last night, but I don't remember offhand whether that was on the agenda for passage, and if so, what they did. I'm not sure if you know that.
I don't.
I think they're literally at the same stage as you are.
Gotcha.
So we caught up to them. They passed a little bit earlier, but.
So
Yeah, we're gonna pass.
to not be hasty and try to pass something tonight, can we bring you back language with?
Oh, yeah,
schools and
absolutely.
stuff?
We're not gonna rush this. Yeah, no, we can definitely let's do that. We can-
I don't want it to drag out.
No, I'm not looking to drag it out for
Yeah,
years, but
that's
I think we could definitely have a little bit further discussion, because I
I
think,
think we kind of know what direction we're moving in.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable with adding a buffer for the schools. I mean, I think it's sensible, and it's really only an issue in one place. Depending on what you find out about, daycare centers or potentially private education places, but.
Good marching orders?
Thank you, good.
Thanks, Alex.
thank you. All right, gentlemen, next item under work session is to consider, kind of discuss what we want to do moving forward with regards to public meetings, the trustee meetings going forward, have been meeting up to the public. I'll be honest, my proposal would be is that we go ahead and, I think we can do some things to set up the area if we want to do some social distancing to set it up, but I think I'd like to see it open back up to the public. This is the people's government, and I think anytime that if we can reasonably accommodate and get that back open, that's something I'm definitely for.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel similar. I mean, I think the sentiment of all the reopening and the COVID situation is really kind of coming to a point that it's individual situations and individual decisions to be made. But I would like for everybody that wants to come and attend the meeting of their local government and their local building, if they're comfortable doing that, and we can social distance, and I'm comfortable, if others want to make decisions not to do that, maybe we continue to stream them online for a period of time while being open to the public, so everyone is available.
You know, I think it'll be some time before people in general are comfortable, especially certain segments of the population, so I think it's important to continue to
Well,
stream.
Yeah, I agree. And I think now that we do have confidence and we've been videotaping these meetings for the last several meetings and we've done a good job getting those online and whatnot, that even if we didn't necessarily do a Facebook Live, but we go back to making sure those videos are on there the next morning, I would still even be in favor of taking public comments via email for those that can't attend for a time being as far as that goes. But yeah, I'm in agreement. I think if we put some protocols in place, we can, as far as setup, to make sure we ensure social distancing, making sure as the employees are comfortable for the meetings, however they'd like it set up so there's comfort level there. I definitely want to honor that. So we can definitely look at whatever setup makes sense that is comfortable for everybody up here as well. I definitely don't want to disregard that, but I think if we can open this back up to the public, I think that's the move we should make.
Do you want staff input, because we have discussed it in our staff meetings as well?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So we do have some staff members that take care of elderly parents, we have staff members with pregnant spouses, so there is a concern about, when we have people come to the window here, we know they're in the lobby and in our lobby proper. So we have it to where we can put on a mask and go out and contact the person answering questions. Or we have some staff members that aren't comfortable, so they only accept appointments only right now. And so we know opening up to the public, just open, if we could have some, required temperatures or required that they wear masks. We have some concerns. We also have protocols in place that this wouldn't align with. We have trainings for different departments where we've contacted the health department to get their recommendation. And it was, you can hold a training as long as you can accommodate the specific number. So if it's up to 20 people, we have to have this many square feet to accommodate the social distancing. So that conversation actually just held this morning. And so we're going to move forward with starting to get back into some trainings as long as they're safely operated. So to open it wide open to the public, I know we don't typically get big attendance groups, but with CBD oil and stuff like that, the potential Burger King, we knew that was a hot topic. Different things this place could pack out, and there are some concerns from our staff.
And that's fair. From my perspective, if we get CBD oil, we get to the point where we're in public hearings, I would feel extremely uncomfortable as an elected official having virtual online meetings without public input, without public being here to do that input. That will slow the process because I'm not going to have public hearings like that. I think that to me just looks bad. I think I would definitely be willing and happy to consider accommodations to make sure the employees feel comfortable. Kind of similar to what we have set up now, if we need to even push that back a little further, ensure that the employees come in and out of these certain doors where they don't have to be in close contact with the public. If there's any comfort level issues, I'm happy to accommodate and address that as far as, like I said, if we need to stay spread out for the comfort level of everybody, and for certain seating arrangements, that's absolutely acceptable and I would do. If we need to even thin out the chairs a little bit more and push it back a little bit, that's fine. I think I struggle to keep our doors closed to the public. It's a real struggle for me. As far as public meetings, I'm not saying that you need to change how your protocols as far as handling your interactions with the public on a day-to-day basis or training. That part I'm comfortable with, however you feel you need to operate, but as far as from a public standpoint of government, it's a struggle for me to keep it behind closed doors.
Yeah. And I completely understand. We do, just so you know, we have greater attendance when we do these meetings than we do. So on Facebook Live, we had about 18 to 25 people on average watching the Facebook Lives. When you did the Ring Central meetings, we had 2 or 3. And then as you know, when we have open and public, we have the same 4 or 5 people show up. One of whom typically travels international, and that's also the same.
So would you put together maybe some suggestions for protocols and procedures?
Yeah, it would be very similar. It would be probably temperatures, definitely masks we would prefer. We would thin out the chairs quite a bit.
And you can also, not to butt in, but you can be flexible. If you think you're going to have some big hearing, say, okay, we're gonna do it a hybrid. I had one with the county recently for a BZA meeting, and maybe you could allow it for in-person and online attendance live or whatever. So just because you do it that way one day, you know, one week doesn't mean if you got a different type of crowd and a different type of situation, the next meeting you can't shift.
Right, and I think too, I mean, if we get to these trying times, if we're gonna have a big meeting where we feel like big attendance, I mean, maybe that's an opportunity to partner with the church or school, we might just have to do the meeting to, so that way we can be socially distanced acceptable, but allow people to be here. I just think, like I said, I just strongly feel that, you know, the more that we can be open to the public as far as these meetings, the more transparent, the better. Like I said, I do want to honor and respect everybody's whatever concerns and whatnot, and I think we can accommodate it based on past attendance, past what we've seen attendance, but I'd like to see us move in that direction sooner rather than later, that's for sure.
I agree.
Next meeting?
Yeah, are you guys comfortable with the next meeting, or is that gonna be an issue as far as planning purposes, or are you guys?
We can make it, you guys want, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I just want to make sure that you guys are comfortable with it as well.
Yeah, I don't want, I mean, anyone to be uncomfortable. You know, I would allow anyone to do anything for them as a staff member to make them feel comfortable. If we're looking for concrete parameters from the meeting, you know, ask people not in a family unit to social distance, just like you would going in a retail store or something like that. Now, I think we can ask or recommend wear a mask, but again, just going in, you know, they're not gonna require it, but, you know, be courteous and do that if you can. But yeah, I think, and then, you know, maybe we set that we go ahead and state it for now, unless things loosen sooner rather than later. Maybe we just go ahead and state for the next month or 2 months, we're gonna do both. We're gonna have our normal meetings with these few parameters and go ahead and continue to live stream these on Facebook. Because I don't think, unless we have a huge hot button on an agenda, I still think a lot of people will opt in the short term.
I think
So they watch it on Facebook if that option is there.
And just, Mr. Eater, I know we've had conversations in the past when we've had public comments shouting for the audience. Given kind of the situation, if we wanted to take public comments but not require them to come all the way up, is that an issue at this point, do you believe? Or
And you can do it, again, it's all your rules, however you want to make them up. If you want to put a mic up there but no podium, so long as there's a way to capture that digitally for the online viewers, it doesn't matter how.
Okay. So I think that would be definitely something we'd rather have that, obviously, for everybody's concern, at least initially, so we'll do the public comments, allow it from the seat, keep it orderly, but however we can make it visually, so that way we don't have to have people coming up and getting any
Or
closer.
we can keep online public comments, and that's generated public comments from people we've never heard from.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that sounds good.
all right.
All right, that's it. All right, with that, we will go ahead and move on to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Weber.
Yes, thank you, Daryl. This is a report through the end of April of this year. So, 4 months into the year, and so it's 33% through the year. And with that, in April, I should mention, I think we mentioned it last month's meeting, the financial report, that we did receive our settlement from the county for the first half of the year, like we always do in April. And in that month, there was some other revenue included too, like license plate fees and gas tax, but we received 5.1 million, little north of that amount in revenue, which brought our revenue to date at 5.9, almost $5.95 million, which is about 49% of our anticipated revenue for the year, which is 12.1 million, a little bit more than that is what we anticipate for this year. So we're right on schedule there. The first half revenue that we received from the county and property taxes, when you look at what we're anticipating for the full year, it's right there at that 50% mark. So that's right where we want to be. Likewise, I should mention, if you look at, we talked about license plate fees and gas tax money, and the fact that those, with the COVID-19 influence, that, those may be depleted some. that is such a very small amount of our revenue, which is a good thing for us as a township. But I looked at those numbers, and you do have also a cash flow summary packet there that shows the different, revenues that we're received each month, along with the expenditures. And, you can look at the motor vehicle license tax, which is Fund 2011. Generally we receive between $5,000 and $8,000 a month. In April, we received, about $4,000, so it's down a little bit. Likewise, the gas tax, generally we're between $29,000 and $31,000 a month, and we received $27,000 a month. So you can see that, down a little bit. The thing to remember too is this revenue is usually, taken in as far as the gas tax and license plate fees, at least 30 to 60 days in the rears, so it'll be interesting. So a little bit of effect maybe of COVID-19. It'll be interesting to see what months May and, June are on that. So there again, we just need to keep our eye on that. And the good news is it's a very small portion of our revenue. And the good news is the large part of our revenue, the property taxes, came in right where we wanted them to. So that's that for revenue. For expenditures, for the month of April, we spent $941,000, a little bit over that. And for the year, we've spent a little bit north of $4.6 million, which is basically 34% of our budget. And that's, there again, 33% through the year. That's right where we want to be. And we have last month, at the end of March, we had a cash balance of $8.35 million. And at the end of this month, at the end of April, we've got a cash balance of a little over $12.5 million. So that's right where we need to be. But willing to answer any questions you may have.
No, we just, like you said, we're not expecting really to know the full impact on the motor vehicle tax probably until May, June, as far as, just because of kind of the time and the cycle of everything. And really with regards to property taxes, that's what, 6 months in arrears, correct? So we wouldn't even see probably that effect for a township until 2021 at some point.
Well, I think, yeah, definitely the property taxes are in the arrears, but the next bills will be in, July. So that could, because that's when people are paying them. So that may, that may,
It's coming.
yeah, that may, but I think like we talked last month, it's, the delinquency rate back 10 years ago during the recession was like 5%, so who knows? But yeah, something we definitely keep an eye on.
And just thinking of it simply, we could probably check with Matt come roughly August 1st or at some point in August after the July deadline for your second half tax payment. And he would probably be able to tell us, yeah, the county has got 3% delinquent or, 2 or 5.
That's a good point.
Because that's going to carry, we could get that information from the county before we'll see our draw in the fall. But that's really where our risk is what's the delinquency in the second half tax payment. Because to your point, the vehicle registration, those people will have to register their vehicles when the B&Bs open back up. That will catch up. The gas tax revenue will be permanently lost because people didn't drive as much for a period of time, but it's a very, very small function of our overall budget.
That's correct.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Explanation.
All right, next item on the agenda, gentlemen, is the administrator's report.
I have a couple items tonight. One, we have been staggering for the past 2 weeks our administrative staff, working in and out, just as a precaution. This coming Tuesday, following the holiday, we will have the full administrative staff back in the offices. We have the protocol in place. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we will take, some staff members will only be doing by appointments. Everyone has masks to, if we do have to go out and contact anybody in the lobby or anything. So those are all in place. Along with next week, We have the audit has been announced. They will be coming in to begin the audit. Hopefully just the 1 week, but that could extend if he so chooses. And finally, our fire station, our life safety inspection went through and we got our temporary occupancy permit. So you'll be seeing us do kind of a soft move-in with some furniture, non-essential equipment, things of that nature. So we don't have a direct move-in date for our crews. However, you know, you'll see us moving in and out a little bit with some non-essential stuff.
Okay, great. All right, with that, next item on the agenda is trustee comments. Mr. Souza, what is it?
Just a couple things. One, I wanted to thank Alex for the work with the zoning group on the CBD stuff, and then also at the springtime and the rains and the grass growing. I know he's had a couple resident concerns of lawns not being moving or things like that, and you've been real timely and I think professional in your outreach to the residents and helping resolve this situation, so thank you. Just something to disclose to you gentlemen that I had mentioned to Brent, and might talk with Brent and Kurt a little bit tonight. Downside of the COVID situation is interest rates that went in the bucket, so the changes that got made last year with our excess cash were delivering nice interest income to us for a period of several months that kind of take a turn. So you might look at a couple other options. The LC&B option, the money market, basically, that was giving us a really nice yield on all of our excess cash that wasn't with Red Tree or Redfin. It was
Red Tree.
with Red Tree is dived to near zero. So we might look at a couple other liquid options that the state has available to get us a little better return, and something we could be looking at informally to make some changes. Got a few more investment income dollars until the situation gets back to normal. Who knows what new normal will look like or when that will be. So that's about all I've got.
Mr. Robert?
I just want to congratulate the seniors from Little Miami High School. Thanks, Scott, and your people for handling the parades. My daughter was at Regency Park because our neighborhood didn't have one. One of you guys was following them up. And I don't know how they went in other neighborhoods, but it was nice to at least see that. And yeah, Alex, that part of the job is kind of the tough part of it, so you did a good job. And, you know, encourage people safely to move about the township as some of our restaurants open up for regular dining. That's it.
Yeah, I just want to echo, again, what Mr. Rossi stated, congratulations to the Kings and Little Miami seniors. Thank you for all those that went the extra mile, our police department, fire, and whatnot, with regards to just helping to celebrate that. It was definitely great to see. Also want to mention, give a shout out to the township and to the police department. I believe we received an email on Friday, I think last Friday, that we were, I forget which entity it was, we were rated the 12th, I believe, the 12th safest city in America. Is that right, or in Ohio?
The 12th safest in Ohio.
12th safest in Ohio, which was good. It's just a testament to our great township and our police department and the great things that they've done. And I think I'm excited as we've added 3 new officers just to see, I think it'll just reinforce the safety and how great it is to live here in the township. And just also too, just want to encourage everybody, like Mr. Rossi said, as we get back to getting out, practice the precautions, the social distancing that you feel necessary to take, not only for yourself, but out of respect to others. And, we look forward to, getting back into our restaurants, into our parks. I know my son's excited to get back to playing baseball this year. We're going to get that started here soon. So it's an exciting time, but just also remember, we all have different comfort levels, and just to respect that as we move forward. And with that, we do have an executive session item tonight, so I'll make a motion to go into executive session in reference to ORC 121.22, Section G, subsection 1, to consider the compensation of a public employee or official.
Second?
Mr. Cordray?
Yes,
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
and that is at 7:34 p.m.
And that's why my camera's flipped.
All right, it's time I'll go ahead and make a motion to come out of executive session at 8 p.m.
Second?
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
All right, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to extend Fire Chief Brian Reese's contract to April 17th, 2023, and increase his salary to $100,048.
Second?
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
All right, and with that, we're adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn. At 8 o'clock.
Second.
Mr. Cordray?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Souza?
Yes.
All right, now we're adjourned.
All right.